If you have spent any time researching semantic layers recently, you have probably read the same articles over and over. dbt, AtScale, Cube, Snowflake, maybe Databricks. Every comparison looks like the same. And every single one of them is missing a tool that just don't recently join this race. It actually invented it. In today's video, I'm going to do the comparison that nobody in the data community has actually done properly. I'm going to put Strategy Mosaic in the same table as dbt, Cube, AtScale, and others. And we're going to look at what actually matters when choosing a proper semantic layer for your organization. No fluff, no vendor slides, just a real comparison. Let's go. Before we get into the tools itself, I want to explain why this comparison hasn't been done before, because I think it reveals something really important about how the data community works. The modern data stack world is heavily dominated by a specific type of practitioner, the data engineer. And that makes sense. dbt built one of the most passionate open source communities in the history of data tooling. Over 20,000 organizations use it. The content ecosystem around dbt is enormous. YouTube videos, blog posts, Reddit threads, you name it. So when someone writes a semantic layer comparison, they usually are writing it from that world, right? From the data engineering world. And from that world, the natural candidates are dbt, Cube, and AtScale. Tools that speaks the same language. YAML files, Git workflows, REST APIs, code first, everything. But here's the problem. That framing leaves out a massive segment of a real enterprise organizations. Companies where the people who understand the data and the business metrics, the finance team, the ops team, the strategy team, are not data engineers. They don't write YAML. They don't even know what a YAML file is. They don't use Git. They work with Excel, Power BI, Tableau, Strategy, Qlik. And when you ask the question, what's the best semantic layer for that world? Well, then the existing comparison have nothing to say. That's the gap we're filling today. So let's talk briefly about the story of semantic layers. Semantic layer is not a new idea, actually. It's not something that dbt invented. The concept of a governed, centralized business logic layer sitting between raw data and the people consuming it goes back to the early 1990s. And the company that was actually there at the beginning, that has been the one redefining the enterprise in semantic layer, actually for more than 30 years, is a Strategy. You might know them as a MicroStrategy, which they rebranded recently. Think about that. 30 years. What that means in practice. That means a lot, right? Now, back in 2025, Strategy launched the Mosaic, their AI-powered universal intelligence layer, or semantic layer, if you will. And this isn't just a strategy on steroids or with a new coat of paint. It actually takes all these 30-year foundation and extends it to work with any data cloud, any BI tool, and over 200 data sources, while adding AI-powered modeling that let business users, not only data engineers, participate in building semantic layer, not just consuming it. Needless to mention that Strategy is also part of the Open Semantic Interchange, or OSI, that nice initiative led by Snowflake. So that's really powerful. That's a really mature environment to be working with. All right, so after this brief introduction, let's go straight into the comparison. I'm going to look into 5 specific things that I think are important when you choose, when you need to choose your semantic layer. And I'm going to be very direct about where each tool is strong. So let's go straight into it right now. So this is question number 1, and that's the question that nobody asks loudly enough. With dbt semantic layer, you're defining metrics in YAML files, versioning, controlling them in Git, and then deploying through a data engineering workflow. If you have in a company a strong analytics engineering team, that's actually a beautiful setup. But if your business analysts want to update the definition of a metric, like let's say revenue or active customers, well, in that case, you need to fill in a ticket, a support case, in other words, and then you need to wait. With Cube, you are actually writing data models in JavaScript or YAML. And again, it's a developer oriented framework. Again, powerful, really powerful, but firmly in engineering territory. With AtScale, you get a more enterprise grade experience and there's a more visual interface. That's true. But again, the complexity of setup and the part of modeling itself, again, will require experienced data professionals. With Strategy Mosaic, there's a fundamentally different design decision. Mosaic Studio uses AI to automate data preparation and modeling. That saves a lot of time. It will analyze your data and create all the relationship required. It will apply the proper aggregation functions. It will let users create metrics and they will be able to do it in a much simpler way because they will use natural language prompt, right? The whole AI experience, in other words. So that means a business analyst will be able to participate in building and maintaining the semantic model, not just consuming it. So that's a great advantage. That's not a minor feature, I would say. That's a difference philosophy about who owns the semantic layer. So that's point number one. Now, in point number two, let's talk about data source breadth, right? Well, dbt is fundamentally a transformation layer built for cloud data warehouses like Snowflake, BigQuery, Databricks, Redshift. It's excellent at what it does. But your data needs to be in supported warehouses first. Cube similarly connects to modern data warehouses and databases. It's broadened over time, right? It's been expanding its ecosystem recently, but still relies or it's still centered on the warehouse paradigm. AtScale spans multiple warehouses, well, like Snowflake, Databricks, BigQuery, and that multi-cloud flexibility is one of its genuine strengths. Now, Mosaic, on the other hand, connects to over 200 data sources. It's not only cloud data warehouses, it connects to databases like Oracle, Postgres, to files, to cloud applications, to even systems itself, ERP systems like Salesforce. So if your enterprise data landscape is messy and heterogeneous, which honestly most of the companies are, that breadth matters enormously. You're not only re-architecting your data state to fit the tool, it's actually the tool fitting your data state. That's a great advantage. Let's talk topic number three, which is BI tool connectivity. And this is where I think the comparison is most underappreciated. So let's look again to some of these tools. dbt, for example. dbt integrates with a growing set of BI tools. They integrate with Tableau, with Google Sheets, and others. Primarily, it does it via GraphQL or the API itself. So integrations are maturing, but it requires some configuration work, to be honest. Cube, on the other hand, has solid integrations and added a DEX API for Power BI, and they also have an Excel add-in recently, so that shows real progress. That's good. AtScale uses MDX or DEX compatibility to present itself to BI tool in a language they already speak. So that's smart, but sometimes it requires some workarounds. With Mosaic, things are different. Mosaic supports JDBC, DEX, XMLA, REST, and Python APIs. So it not only does it supports all this, it supports it natively. It connects directly to Tableau, to Power BI, to Excel, to Google Sheets, to Qlik. You can see all of this in my channel. If you go to the Mosaic semantic layer playlist, you will see connectivity to all these tools in a native way using native protocols that these tools already understand. And that's a great advantage, right? So, in other words, when a Power BI user connects to strategy, they are working in DAX in their own language. When a Tableau users connect to strategy, it feels native. No translation layer, no workarounds, and that's massive. That's a great advantage as well. So now let's talk about topic number four, and that's the most, let's say, commented topic in today's world, right? AI. So every tool in this space is adding AI features. So let me be very specific about what AI means in that specific case, right? In that scenario. So DBT has DBT Insights, their natural language querying against the semantic layer, which is genuinely useful. You build your semantic layer, you query it via natural language. So that's great. That's a great AI advantage. Cube launched AI agents in an MCP integration in 2025. So that's a strong technical execution for the developer teams again. AtScale also integrated with Snowflake Cortex Analytics for natural language. So that's again good for the Snowflake centric organizations. And again, that speaks to Snowflake as well, right? Now, Mosaic's AI angle is quite different in a foundational way. Why am I saying that? Well, because the AI isn't just a query interface on top of the semantic layer, which, by the way, Strategy supports with their agents and also with their MCP integration. But the AI part in Mosaic is quite different because it's involving the building part, right? When building the semantic layer, AI plays a fundamental role here in Mosaic. As you might see in some of my Mosaic videos here in the channel, Mosaic Studios is basically based on AI. It analyzes your data structure, it suggests attributes and metrics, it creates all the relationships, all the hierarchies. It helps you with the cleaning of the data itself, detecting duplicates. So it's very powerful. It's actually real AI in action. This part, I would say, it's a great differentiator. The AI in Mosaic, in other words, accelerates the authoring process and not just the consumption experience, which is a great differentiator between the other. So it's a more complete vision of the AI when using it in the semantic layer. Yeah, so let's talk about topic number five, which is governance. I'll be brief in here because I think uh, all the tools in this space, they have great governance features. To be fair, they have version control, they have access permission, they have metric consistency, which Strategy also has. Actually, Strategy has a very powerful semantic or actually security layer, which helps a lot with governance. And that's been the main differentiator, I would say, is that it's been tested for 30 years with large enterprises, right? So when a large company says or confirms that their entire analytics ecosystem relies on a single governed semantic layer in strategy, they're not just lying, right? They can affirm, they can confirm that this is actually one of strategy's main features. So I would not add more to this because it's been very clear with the passing of years that we actually in strategy have a very strong security layer in place. All right, so after talking about all these five different topics here that I think are important, let me just go into a specific demo so you guys can see exactly how I can connect to a data source, let Mosaic Studio generate the model itself, right, with all the attributes, with all the metrics, with all the relationships, with any need for any data engineering, no YAML, no coding. You will see how that works in the next demo. As you will see here, I'm in Strategy Library. I'm creating a new Mosaic model. No coding, no YAMLs at this point. You just go and select your table. Your table can be in Snowflake, as I'm doing now, in the cloud data warehouse. So In Snowflake, I'm basically selecting a few tables, some dimension tables, some fact tables, as you see. I easily add them to my Mosaic model in this case. Then later I can go back to all sources here and bring in Postgres tables. So you don't need to necessarily use Cloud Data Warehouse. It can be an on-prem one like Postgres, right? So here, once again, you add your tables to the model, can be one, two, whatever the amount. And if you have this use case, you can also bring in local files, as I'm doing now, because that's also a common scenario in companies, right? They have the data in CSV format, Excel format. So it's all about connecting to these tables. In this case, I'm just using one. And then as you can see, I have different data sources, 3 different ones. I add them to my model. And then AI takes action, right? It starts to create all the attributes, all the metrics without any manual effort. You can actually edit them later if you want manually, but at this point, no need for any manual interaction. So it saves a lot of time to create the model this way. It gives you suggestions, as you can see here on the right corner. You can clean the data in case you need to, or you can just dismiss them. You can also model your data. By modeling, it means creating the proper attributes or join the different columns from the different data sources together so they can become a single semantic layer concept, as I'm doing right now with another attribute here. You see customer, it's just one single customer, not 4 different ones. You see 4 here because they're coming from different tables and different sources, but you then later combine that into one. That's the concept of a semantic layer in action. Later, you can go to tables, you can see your tables, you can see the relationships between those different tables in a model. And yes, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right? You can easily see your model. You can go to hierarchies and see the model that you created. Pretty quick, pretty fast. As you just saw, right? So from raw data sources into a governed, queryable semantic layer in just a few minutes. And that semantic layer, again, accessible now to Power BI users, to Tableau, to Qlik, to any BI tool, and actually to even more external analytics tools. So that's the practical meaning of the no coding semantic layer in strategy. So let's wrap up this video with the question, with the final one. Who is Mosaic the right choice for? Well, if you are part of an enterprise organization with a heterogeneous data landscape, like multiple sources, multiple BI tools, different teams, including both technical and non-technical users, well, Mosaic is purposely built for you. If your organization needs the semantic layer to be accessible, to be business analyst friendly and data steward, not just for the data engineers, Mosaic is actually built for you. And by the way, if you're a data engineer as well, you can definitely benefit from Mosaic as well. To finalize, I would say that this was the semantic layer comparison that the modern data community hasn't been having lately, and I think it's a conversation worth having. So what about yourselves? What do you think about it? Please let me know here in the comment. I would like to see what you think about strategy, about other semantic layers, and I would like to invite you all to see other videos here in my channel, and of course, to subscribe to it. Thanks for watching this one. It's my pleasure to have you here. And as I always say here in this channel, I'm looking forward to seeing you all in the next corner.